Hello, my lovely learners, and welcome to Easy Stories in English, the podcast that will take your English from okay to good and from good to great. I am Ariel Goodbody, your host for this show. Today's beginner level story is called Grandmother March. Today's story was originally sent in by a listener, Mariana Panayatova. Mariana lives in Bulgaria, and this is a Bulgarian folktale. Grandmother March, or Baba Marta, is a character who appears in many Bulgarian stories. This story was originally written by the Bulgarian writer Elin Pelin, which I love. Elin Pelin. What a fantastic name. So this version I'm presenting today has come from these traditional myths, these traditional stories. Then Elin Pelin wrote their version of it. Then Mariana wrote her version. She sent that version to me. And now I am giving you my version of the story. So this story has quite a long family history. Interesting. So the purpose of this story, the reason this story was written, was to explain why the weather in March in Bulgaria is so changeable. When weather is changeable, it means it changes a lot. 1 minute it's sunny, the next minute it's raining. And weather in the UK is pretty much always changeable, but in Bulgaria, it can be pretty extreme. In March in Bulgaria, it can go from sub-zero temperatures below zero, to 30 degrees Celsius in the same day. So on a March day in Bulgaria, it might be -5 degrees in the morning and then 30 degrees in the middle of the day, which is a big change. So this story helps explain to children why the weather is so changeable at that time of year. The 1st of March in Bulgaria is Baba Marta Day, so the day to celebrate this character, Baba Marta. She appears in many myths, and for this holiday, people wear a small decoration called a marenitsa. A marenitsa is a small red and white decoration that people make and wear. And then the idea is, after seeing the first stork in March, you take off your marenitsa and you put it on a tree. So a stork, S-T-O-R-K, is a kind of bird which migrates, which travels over the winter. So I guess when you see the first stork, it's like, okay, spring is officially here. Let's take off our marenitsas and put them on a tree. Storks are white birds with long, thin beaks. They stand very still and they're very long and thin. In a lot of Western myths, a lot of Western fairy tales, the idea is that storks bring babies to their parents. So when parents have a child, it's a stork that flies and carries the baby to the parents. I think in the past, a lot of parents told their children, this is how babies are made. Yeah, when two people love each other very much, a stork flies in and brings them the baby. And then maybe when they're older, they find out how babies are actually made. Anyway, in my version of the story, Baba Marta finds the marenitsas, the decorations, quite annoying. And indeed, in many of the stories with Baba Marta, she is a very angry woman. She gets angry and annoyed very easily. In the story are two other characters, Baba Marta's two brothers. So one brother represents January, that is frosty, and the second brother represents February, that is chilly. So they also represent the weather in January and February. The original names for these characters are Golamsechko and Malksechko, which is quite hard to translate, like big cold and little cold, or big chop and little chop. So I translated it as frosty and chilly, because frosty means very cold and chilly means a bit cold. Okay, so without further ado, let's get into the story. Grandmother March. Once upon a time, there were 3 siblings. So, once upon a time is what we say traditionally at the start of a story, and siblings means brothers and sisters. There were 3 siblings, there were 3 brothers and sisters. Frosty, Chilly, and Grandmother March, or Baba Marta. Each one of them ruled over a different time of year. So each one of them, all of them, ruled over. So when you rule over something, you control something. You are responsible for something. For example, kings rule over their country, or teachers rule over their classroom. And each had a different personality. So a personality is what you are like. Maybe you have a happy personality, or an angry personality, or a kind personality. But they all got on well. When you get on well, you have friendly relations with someone. You are friends. You don't fight. So these 3 siblings get on well. I'll just say that sentence again because it was quite long. Each one of them ruled over a different time of year, and each had a different personality, but they all got on well. The 3 siblings owned a small vineyard. So a vineyard is a place where you grow wine. You grow the grapes, and then you make the grapes into wine. So the word vine is the plant that grapes grow on, and vine and wine sound very similar. So a vineyard. The 3 siblings they had a small vineyard, and after a year of good weather, they were left with 3 big barrels of wine. So they had 3 big barrels. So a barrel is like a round wooden thing that you use to store wine or beer. These days, most people don't have barrels in their home, but in the past, we often used barrels to store things. They were left with 3 big barrels of wine, 1 for each of them. So Frosty had a barrel of wine, Chilly had a barrel of wine, and Baba Marta had a barrel of wine. In January, Frosty set about his work. So in January, Frosty started working. He walked through mud. Mud is dirt. When it rains a lot and you go into a field or a forest, there will be mud on the ground, and mud makes your feet dirty. He walked through mud, walked across frost. So frost is the hard white stuff that you get on the ground when it is cold. When it's very cold in winter, you get frost in the morning, and if you step on frost, you might fall over. He walked through mud, walked across frost, fought through snow. So fought is the past of fight, to like battle, to have like an argument, a fight with someone. He fought through snow and danced with the wind. At the end of the month, he was exhausted. He was very tired. So he sat down for a drink. He shoved a finger into his barrel. So he put a finger very quickly into his barrel. He shoved a finger into his barrel and made a hole. So a hole is a gap, a space. And then he put his mouth to the hole and drank. So he used his finger to open up a small space, a hole in his barrel, and then he drank from the hole. Glug, 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 glug. That's what glug means. Glug, 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 when you're drinking. In February, it was Chili's turn to work. So now Chili was working. He was much gentler than his older brother. So gentle means soft, kind, not angry, but soft and gentle and nice. He was much gentler than his older brother, but he was still a hard worker. He swam through rivers, broke the ice, melted the snow. So when you melt something, you make it warm, so it turns into water. If you melt ice, the ice turns into water. If you have an ice cream on a hot day, it will melt. It will turn into liquid. Melted the snow, sent water down the mountains. Yeah, because if there is snow on a mountain and it melts, then water will go down the mountain. Cleared forests. So he made forests empty. He got rid of forests. Made nests for starlings. So a nest is a bird's home. Birds make little homes in trees, and these are called nests. And a starling is a kind of bird. Made nests for starlings and walked for miles and miles. Like his brother, he was tired at the end of his work and thirsty too, so he wanted to drink. But he opened his barrel of wine more gently and enjoyed the drink slowly. 1 glass, 2, 3, 4. One day, Frosty and Chili were invited to the wedding of an old friend. So a friend of Frosty and Chili invited them to a wedding. Knowing that they should bring a present, they went into their wine cellar. So they knew, oh, it's a wedding, we should bring a present, a gift. So they went into their wine cellar. The wine cellar is the place under a house where you keep wine because it is cold and dark. They went into their wine cellar, but they found only 1 barrel left, which belonged to Baba Marta. So they drank 2 of the barrels, so now there is only 1 barrel, and that barrel is Baba Marta's barrel of wine. Well, said Frosty, we are older, so we are allowed to take the wine. Frosty thinks because they are older than Baba Marta, they can take the wine. But Marta won't be happy, said Chili. Their sister had a fierce temper. So a temper is when you get angry quickly. If you have a temper, you are always getting angry. And a fierce temper means a really strong temper. Fierce means like an animal. Their sister had a fierce temper. Still, we can't show up without a present. They can't show up, they can't arrive without a present. So they took the wine and hoped that Marta wouldn't notice. So they took the wine and thought, ooh, I hope Marta does not see. See you soon!